Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to That's Football. This is the big one. It's PSG against Newcastle and it's Champions League survival at stake. Newcastle are in a position where basically if they lose tonight, I think they might be going out. Others might say differently, but Newcastle with 4 points, PSG with 6 points, Dortmund with 7 points. Really, it sort of looks like if they lose, they will be heading out of the group. AC Milan play Dortmund. We'll be keeping an eye on that. But it's a huge game for Newcastle and one that somehow, somewhere, somehow, they've got to try and find a result. And it'll be difficult. It will be difficult for them tonight. I can't deny that. PSG would be favourites, but you never know. Man United have won at PSG before. It's happened. I've played the game. It could happen tonight. Also, because it's a Goldbridge watch-along, I got asked to do this. I got asked to do this a year ago, and I'm going to do it tonight. Urban myths. People have said, can you talk about urban myths? You talk about polar bears and wildlife a lot. Can you talk about urban myths? So we're going to do that a little bit as well. But it is football. That is what we're here for, everybody. And I'm here to give you the team news. That is what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do it. As you can see, that's the PSG lineup. Donnarumma, Hakimi, Skriniar, Danilo, Hernandez, Ruiz, Ugarte, Lee Canin, Dembele, Mawani, Mbappe. What a front three. We'll talk about the benches there as well. Vitina, Mukiel, Asensio, Ramos, Soler. What a bench they've got. Newcastle, Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Schär, Livramento, Miley Cyrus, Bruno Gomes, Joel Linton, Almiron, Isaac and Gordon. I mean, that's not a bad Newcastle side. I know they have got a few people out injured, but that's not terrible for Newcastle. They don't have many subs, though. They've only actually named 7 subs. Parkinson, Huntley, Endouini, Hall, Karius, Dummett and Dubravka. I think they've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench, haven't they? That's how short of players Newcastle are. They could do with getting a call into Saudi Arabia and getting a few loans in sooner rather than later. But yes, I think it's a difficult game for Newcastle. I think the lack of subs is going to make it even harder for them. But yeah, I think PSG are firm favourites in this one. And I was looking at the table, and I thought, is there a way where Newcastle lose this game and still qualify? Very difficult. Very, very difficult because they'd need... I don't know how they do it. I don't think they can they? I think if they lose, they can't do it because if Milan beat Dortmund, they go to 8 points. If Dortmund beat Milan, they go to 10 points. And if Dortmund draw with Milan, they go to 8 points. So the only way for Newcastle to survive is not to lose. If they lose, they're out. They can still get Europa League football, but they're out. They can't lose and still go through. So a draw, even that, it depends on what Dortmund do. But they've got to avoid a loss. Very, very difficult. And I don't think it's the same as... it's not the same as the Manchester United situation. I mean, Man United have got Copenhagen and Galatasaray in their group. This group for Newcastle, I'll put my hands up. I don't care. It's a very, very difficult group for Newcastle. And that there should be no... I mean, and look, I think Milan should have beat them. I think Milan should have beat them. I watched that game. We watched that game. So I think that there is a case to say that it's been very, very difficult for Newcastle in a very, very tough group, and coming through it would have been remarkable, and still could be, but the odds are against it if we're completely honest, aren't they? Camden in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, Mark. We've drawn bloody Burnley, says Hannah. Well done, Camden. I take it that's the Women's FA Cup because Hannah is a female name and has a picture of a female. Well done. Well done. And also we haven't got the 3rd round of the FA Cup for the men drawn yet. So I've answered my own question, but well done. Rain says Miley Cyrus cooked our midfield last game. And people only disappointed with Newcastle because of the PSG game. Feels a bit underwhelming after that, says Josh. Yeah, I think the double header against Dortmund didn't do you any favours, did it? And but look, this is for Newcastle. I know Newcastle fans who just say we're enjoying the ride, and I get they're enjoying the ride, And sometimes I feel that the ride enjoyment is a bit over the top. But I think in this case, they can enjoy the ride season 1. The important thing for Newcastle is to make sure they're back in the Champions League in year 2. You're all legends, by the way. Can you just do me a favour? The new podcast episode is out now. I'm just reminding you of it, and I'm going to pin the link in the chat for you. If you could give it a download and a listen, it's a really good episode this week. We put a lot into it. I know a lot of you like it. Support the podcast. It's completely independent, and it's driven by you lot. So please do give the podcast a listen. It came out again today, every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Talking about the title race, talking about Spurs' season falling into the abyss, Aston Villa. Also, Pratt of the Week, which focuses a lot around VAR. There's a really interesting conversation around how VAR, not just bad decisions, but the constant stop-start. Also talking about this Newcastle loan system that could be massive for them. Really good episode. Please do support it. If you like the channel, please download it. Links in the live chat. Really appreciate that. Title is wrong, Mark. PSG versus Newcastle. No, it's not. Please find my last super chat if you can, Mark, says Dogman. I'll tell you what. I'll just do what you tell me to do, shall I? Shall I sweep your garden for you as well? I will find it for you because you have made a contribution to the channel. Mark. Oh, God. Dogman. I wish I hadn't now because you're acting a complete and utter prat. I don't believe you, basically. I'm either going to be the most insensitive person ever or I'm calling out bullshit. Mark, says Dogman, I know this isn't the right place, but my girlfriend broke up with me yesterday and I'm at my worst. Some words from someone like you could really help. Well, I get asked this all the time, and I'm suspicious about whether this is true. However, for the good of the game, I'm going to side with the fact that you are telling the truth, that you have been broken up with your girlfriend. Now, the thing is, I don't have the detail. Did she cheat on you? Did you cheat on her? What actually caused the breakup? Because I need these details. It's like asking me to build you an extension when I don't know where you live. I need the details of why you broke up. Because to be honest with you, whether you get sympathy or not depends on the reason you broke up. But ultimately, a breakup happens because two people decide to part ways. And bottom line is, get over it and get back on the horse. And that doesn't mean go and buy yourself a horse. What I mean is you need to work through the disappointment and sadness. And ultimately, I would say don't be sad because they're not the right person for you. But you've got to work through that. Play a bit of FIFA. Watch a few films. Get involved in our Urban Myths chat. Put a smile on your face. It's Christmas. Get back out ASAP because if there's one thing we know about Christmas, it may well be hyped. It may well be expensive. But the pubs and clubs are rammed with happy people with lower inhibitions. And you, my friend, could be there to mop up. Mop up. The amount of times, before I was married and stuff, I went out at Christmas. It was, I used to have a little calendar of like the year. I didn't really. But if I did, I'll guarantee you, through the summer, you're doing all right. The rest of the year, you're doing all right. December, brilliant. Everybody lowers their inhibitions. It's brilliant. Dear Deirdre, yeah, all I'm saying is, if you're sad about your girlfriend, get over it within a week. You need to be out and about by early December because there's plenty of fish to catch. And there's plenty more fish in the sea. Great advice. Get the mistletoe out as well, says Chris B. You see, people have got ideas in the chat. Yeah, love it. Love it. Love it. Get a manscaped as well, says Dane Grayson. Catherine won't know what she's missing. Catherine's, I tell you what, I don't know where it is. Catherine will love it. I can't find it. I might have been using it. Anyway, look, we're very close to the start of this game. Very excited about it. Big game. Newcastle, win or bust. I mean, Champions League is looking like it's coming to an end, the journey. But on the other hand, who knows? That front three of Mbappe and Mawani and Dembele is very, very good. But Newcastle are a system team. They are a system team. Dear Marks is caught. Look, if you've got any other problems, let me know. I'm happy to read them. Put the super chats in or whatever. I'll try and read them if you don't. But thank you very much for your super chat, by the way. Are you going to do a watch along for the PGMOL derby this week, which is at the Emirates? One of Arteta or Gary O'Neill is going to go off surely, says Tanishk. I am, Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And the Royal Mail is here. Not heard from you from ages, mate. Hope you're doing really, really well. 5 memberships just been gifted there. Absolute legend. Thank you very much for that. Score prediction, 3-1 PSG. 3-1 PSG. We're just about to kick off here. We're going to be talking some urban myths tonight as well. I don't know the definition of urban myth, but it's basically stuff that's considered to be made up, isn't it? Like the Loch Ness monster. You know what? That urban myth is for idiots. There are still people who go to Loch Ness thinking they're going to spot something. Like, I've never been because I just think, for me, it's just a big pond. But I know people who've been to Loch Ness and they've said, I've been here, and there's people with binoculars and, you know, really high-powered photo lenses looking for Loch Ness. And I'm like, it's not real. It's not bloody real. It's just a big fish that stuck its head out the water. Or a swan. Although I did like, when I was growing up, there used to be a bloody brilliant cartoon. I think it was called Nessie. You can rock it, you can knock it, you can go to Timbuktu, but you'll never find a Nessie in the zoo. You may see an anaconda, a giraffe or kangaroo, but you will never find a Nessie in the zoo. Yeah, that was good. It was good. The Family Nest, that's what it was called, Lee. It was. So, yeah, urban myth number 1, you're a prat if you believe in Loch Ness. There's probably a lot. I don't want to be horrible to Americans, but I bet that the Americans are going, yeah, we do. There'll be a lot of Americans that come over to Loch Ness to look for it. It's exactly up their street. Dan says, how's your finger? I mean, it's getting better, but I can't bend it all the way down. You know, like that one. Look. Right up against the fist, right up against the palm. That one, can't get it up to the palm. I don't know what that means if you're a fingering specialist. I don't know, but look at the gap. Can't get it up against my palm. Good start by PSG here, which is what we're expecting. Mark, do you think we need an independent VAR crew in England? They won't want to protect the referee's mistakes on the pitch, and they probably won't make the same mistakes. I like the idea, Bart. I like the idea. Good one. Good one. I'm just looking at the UK's most popular myths. I can't believe what's number 2. Robin Hood. Robin Hood is not a myth. Robin Hood is not a myth. He is, I mean, Robin Hood is not a myth. Like, that bloody big swan thing on that lake or that loch in Scotland, which is just Scottish for lake, by the way. That's a bloody myth. Robin Hood's not a myth. They made films about him. Kevin Costner. Robin Hood existed. Oh, hold on a minute. Oh, Newcastle are all over the place. Shot over the bar. This has got vibes of AC Milan at the moment. Newcastle are very shaky here. It's funny. Newcastle in the Premier League never look shaky. But in the Champions League, I don't know whether it's psychologically, but in a lot of their Champions League games, they've really looked shaky, haven't they? And they're not like that in the Premier League. Fabio Ruiz with the shot over there. Got a great selection of players, PSG, by the way. Give us your urban myths. We'll talk about them. That probably means a hairline fracture or tendon, says Jude. Thanks, Jude. Hi, Mark. I happen to be a fingering expert. Usually 2 fingers does the trick, says Philip. Filth. 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 Lee Berman says, Robin Hood's got an airport. It's a real thing. There's no Loch Ness Monster airport. No, Lee, I think that's a good point. That's a great point. Jer says, what about leprechauns? They're an urban myth. I don't think we can even talk about leprechauns. I think it's demeaning to the Irish. So I don't think you can talk about that anymore. I choose not to, just in case, but I think it's offensive to the Irish now. It's political correctness gone mad. Very, very good start from PSG here. A City fan's an urban myth, says Slush. Yeah. According to Pep, he got more chance of seeing Bigfoot in Manchester than a City fan. Have it up. AC Milan has scored against Dortmund, by the way. Big shout out to E2 who's told us about that. I've heard about the Banshee in Ireland. They've got some myths themselves. Ronan Keating's another myth, urban myth. No, he's real. He's something the Irish wish was an urban myth. Sorry, I got that wrong. Shrewsbury Town FC getting promoted this year. Biggest myth in UK, says Royal Mail X. And can we talk about the myth about the ghost of Paris? Pinal Pessy, says Zed Savage. That is savage. You're going to get in trouble with that. Do you believe in Santa Claus, says Halvard? I'm not having that conversation now. Yes, I do. End of conversation. We're not talking about that. It's bloody... You don't do that conversation in bloody late November and December. Come on. Have a heart. Harry Kane winning a title is an urban myth, says the Leroy Cooper. Nice ball in. Newcastle in the box here. Back heel. Ball's gone out. No, Milan missed their penalty. It's still 0-0 there. Give us another urban myth, Mark. Why is the stadium so dark? PSG can't afford electricity, having to pay Mbappe all those bonuses, says Nicholas Cage. I think it's atmospheric, really. I think that's why they do it. PSG on the break here. Oh, this is dangerous. Mbappe's got loads of space to run into up against Trippier. I tell you what, Trippier made a great tackle there. Eye on the ball. Really good. Jamie says, Mothman makes me nervous, always has. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a myth. Average UK searches per month, 40,005. Hey, do you know what? Here we go. Average UK searches for Loch Ness Monster in the UK, 60,000 per month. Worldwide, 300,000. That means there's 300,000 prats who search for Loch Ness every month. Just listen to my podcast. I could do with 300,000. Goldbridge Saves Football. You'll actually learn something instead of reading about a big bloody duck. King Arthur, 407,000 searches per month. Hold on a minute. Hakimi's down the right-hand side. The cross comes in. Oh, what a save by Pope. That should have been 1-0. Little flick from Mbappe, and it was an easy save for Pope. But this has got San Siro, AC Milan, Newcastle written all over it. Newcastle are just hanging on a little bit here. Remember, if they lose, they're out. They've got to win. What difficulty do you play EAFC on, says Connor? Legendary. Always legendary. Is Jack the Ripper a myth? No, he's not. I can talk to you about that, Tahu. Oh, that's late. Should be a booking there. That's really late on Gomeres. What do you think about Bigfoot, Goldbridge, says Khalid? Well, the same thing I think about anyone who's got big feet, to be honest. Dortmund have just scored a penalty, apparently. Giroud missed a penalty. Mbappe's just missed a chance going for a flick. Why did he flick it? Do you think that's a bit arrogant from Mbappe there doing the flick? Like, he literally could have scored that. Surely. I've raised a good point there, haven't I? That's a goal. That's just too extravagant. He could have just hit that with his right foot, and it would have been 1-0. Goldbridge being 6'2", says Tim, is an urban myth. And biggest myth of all is Mark takes cod liver oil, says Facing Dexter. Yeah, I definitely don't. Definitely don't. That was a sitter. Yeah. I think that chance from Mbappe makes it look, oh, yeah, nearly scored. And he should have bloody scored. He shouldn't be flicking that. Oh, Paris. PSG are just queuing up here at the moment. Dortmund are leading 1-0. If United and Juventus 3 beat the Champions League, it would be Ajax, Bayern, Real, Juve, and United who have the most league titles in their domestic leagues, says Abdul. And just made burgers with cheese. Should I use Monterey Jack or classic burger cheese? Always also thoughts on Spurs collapse, says Alex. Well, I spoke about Spurs on the podcast, so check that out. It's in the live chat. But I'd go with the classic burger cheese on that one, definitely. Top 5 Christmas movies ranked, says Robert. I will definitely do that. And it's gone out for a corner here to PSG. Neymar being the GOAT is definitely an urban myth. Die Hard is not a Christmas film. Yeah, well, it is. It is. It is. I'm bored of doing this every year. It's if a film is set at Christmas, it therefore becomes a Christmas film. I don't know what more you want. Rambo First Blood is a Christmas film because it's set at Christmas. Just because it hasn't got bloody elves in it and Santa and people singing bloody carols, that's your justification of what a Christmas film is. For me, a Christmas film is set at Christmas. And the great thing about, ooh, big chance for Isaac from the cross. Came at him quickly, but he could have scored. Could have scored. If you're going to say it's not a Christmas film, remove your head from your arse and give us an explanation instead of saying it's not. Nobody likes a prat who just goes, it's not, because basically you just come across as wrong. Oh, what a chance for Isaac. He can't believe it. He's looking to the sky. That's where the ball went, mate. Gremlins is a Christmas film. You're right, BC. Foul there as well. If Nani doesn't get sent off, we go on to win the Champions League as treble champ. I agree. Dortmund are winning, which puts them top of the group. Still a long way to go. But yeah. What is the justification for Christmas films? They have to be set at Christmas. That's the it. I mean, some people like horror. There are Christmas films that are horrors because they're set at Christmas. Some people like, cartoons. There are Christmas films that are cartoons. They're Christmas films. Some people like action films like Lethal Weapon, Gremlins, Rambo First Blood, Die Hard. They're all Christmas films set at Christmas. That's how it works. Ooh, Newcastle are breaking away quite well. They're growing into the game a little bit now. Leipzig are beating Man City. Don't care. Couldn't give a shit. Couldn't give a shit. Yeah, we're talking urban myths. 407,000 searches worldwide per month for King Arthur. I mean, I'd need to search it myself to find out what it's all about. But it's a complete and utter nonsense. I don't even know where it originates from. King Arthur and the Round Table. Merlin the Wizard. Hamlet, the guy who pulled the... No, it wasn't Hamlet. That's something else. That's Shakespeare. Who was the prat who pulled the sword out? Arthur. It was King Arthur, wasn't it? He's probably it says here, he's probably the most legendary icon of medieval Britain and English folklore dating back to the 5th and 6th centuries. The most legendary icon of medieval Britain and English folklore. I think William the Conqueror says, hold my beer. What about Dick Turpin? Dating back to the 5th and 6th centuries, a brave, noble and kind knight that never bloody exist. Tintagel in Cornwall apparently is his castle. I mean, this sort of stuff makes me laugh. This makes me laugh. They've got a castle. They've got a castle for a fictional person. People go to that castle and go, this is where Merlin and King Arthur used to meet. They're not bloody real. It's a made-up story. You go into a castle of somebody who's not real. It's like going to Northern Ireland to Winterfell. Oh, this is where Jon Snow lived with his dad, Eddard, and his sisters. They're not real. It's not. They didn't live here because they're not bloody real. They just get to get a one-on-one against Donnarumma, says Christian. And is The Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas film? Of course it is, Khalid. Urban Myth, the greatest action film ever. Fury Road, the greatest action film ever. 6 Oscars, says Jamie. I don't think I've seen it. Urban Myth, the earth is round, spinning with water, says Vincent. Oh, yeah, there's always someone. There's always someone, isn't there? But you know what I mean? There's actually a bloody castle. And get this, I'm not going to name them because it's unfair. They went to Cornwall. They really like King Arthur. They loved the story. They went to Tintagel, and then they told me about Merlin's cave. I went, you what? Yeah, we went to the castle where King Arthur lived, and then there's this little bit down on the cliff, on the rock face of the sea, which was Merlin's cave. And I went, what's that all about then? You know, straight face, because I can do that. I went, oh, what's that all about then? So you went to where King Arthur lived. When did he move out? Oh no, he lived there years ago. Oh right, so he didn't put it on Rightmove or anything like that. Is it his ancestors who own it? Don't know. But they went to Merlin's cave. Yeah, okay. What was that all about then? Oh, that's where Merlin lived, in the cave. I said, I bet it got cold. Well, it was the olden days. What did he do in the cave? That's where he did all his tricks and potions. They are bloody talking to me like it actually happened. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. This is why Poundland's in business. People like you. Bloody hell. Low intellect. Yeah, well, it takes all sorts. Is Mark Goldbridge an urban legend? I suppose in a way it probably is. Yeah, you're right. PSG are terrible, says Sugi. Well, Newcastle, they've just got to stay in this game at the moment. If you look at the stats, PSG really went out fast. And as we can see, they've had 58% possession, 5 shots to 1, but only 1 on target. And Newcastle have actually done what traditionally you need to do in difficult away games. They've ridden the storm, and they're now starting to build that, not be intimidated. Big shout out to One Football, by the way. They sponsor our stats carousel, which goes round and is updated by the second. The stats carousel as well. You can get One Football for free through the link in the description or by scanning the QR code there. All your latest breaking football news, transfer news for free on Apple and Android. But the thing I like about it when the matches are on is you get all your score updates really, really quickly. But also you can go into the match and look at the players' individual stats, like their pass success rate for someone like Trippier, etc. So check it out for free. Big shout out to One Football. Jack the Ripper was real. Like Jack the Ripper's not an urban myth. Those prostitutes did get murdered. It wasn't a joke. They didn't get cut up and go, look, it's all fake blood I bought from the butchers for a laugh. Jack the Ripper's real. It was a serial killer. They just don't know who it was. He's not a myth. He's real. They just don't know what his identity is. It's like Jaws. That's real. Sharks do exist. That was a serial killer shark. Might have been misunderstood. I always think it's a love story, but that's based on a true story. Mark, we've got Christmas films and songs, so why don't we get Easter films and songs, says Joel, because Easter's crap. Don't talk to me about Easter. Rubbish. Have you heard of the Black Panther that roams around the Derbyshire area, says Sam the Man. Oh, bog off. Another urban myth, thank you for that. Oh my God, what's this one? Have you ever heard of this? 20,000 UK searches a month. The Green Man, based in the southwest. The Green Man is a symbol of new life and new growth, which is typically associated with all that spring brings. References to the Green Man can be seen around the world with images of faces covered in foliage or carved in wood or stone. To many, he is the keeper of the forests and an environmental guardian rooted in English folklore. You can find the Green Man in carvings on historical churches and cathedrals. Here are some examples of places you can visit to see him. Bolton Abbey, Rochester Cathedral, Pennell Church. Fucking hell. Oh, don't can say. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that. There's a lot of urban myths in Scotland. I think Scottish people are bored. Like, there's a big list here. Scotland, Selkies. Selkies are Celtic and North mythology, a water being, a seal folk, so a seal, that can change from seal to human by shedding their skin. So basically, what a Selkie is, some Scottish prat was stood looking out to sea, saw a man swimming, looked away to eat his sandwich, looked up and then saw a seal, and went, "I've seen a seal, man!" So that's another Scottish one. You've got the Loch Ness, you've got Selkie. Here's another one in Scotland, Redcap. Redcaps, right? Redcaps. A redcap is a malicious and malevolent goblin-type creature. They said to be... No, that's just Nicola Sturgeon. Lady of the Lake. Oh, no, that could be... Oh, that's Wales. I quite like that one. Quite like that one. Loch Ness Monsters, Scottish. Kelpies, Scottish. What's a Kelpie? Kelpies are said to inhabit almost every single Scottish lake. Oh, we're back in the lakes again, aren't we? We're back in London. We're back in the lochs. Some say that Nessie is the most famous of their kind. We're back there again. Although not mythical, Kelpies at Falkirk in Scotland are not to be missed. Based on the Scottish legends, these 30-metre high sculptures, the largest equine sculpture in the world, certainly take your breath away. Oh, so it's a horse that lives in the water. So basically somebody saw a horse crossing the water. Bloody hell, Scotland have got loads of urban myths. That's 4. Oh my God, what's that one with the big cock? Oh, I'll come back to that one. Cherney, I probably pronounced it completely wrong. Cherney Abbas giant based in Dorset. It is said that the 180-foot tall giant chalked into the ground is it's that big thing is thought to be a depiction of the Greek god Hercules, the god with superhuman strength. He's got a superhuman cock. It's massive. Others believe he was created as a pagan idol during the Iron Age, an ancient symbol of fertility, and local folklore has long held him to be a fertility aid. Well, I'm sure it is. It's sticking up as well. It's nearly touching his tits. Cherney, Cerne Abbas giant. Wow, it's very big in certain areas. Bloody hell. Let's get back to the football. Gareth Southgate is a great manager. That's a myth. And what about the Lambton Worm, says TMFA. I don't know what that is. Giant of the Three Giants Causeway is real, says Ryan. Yep, spotted every day, isn't he? I'm having a great day, Al. I'm having a great day. We're talking about urban myths. Oh, I nearly fell off my chair then. The Green Man is a pub in Loughborough, says Beryl Carpenter. Smurfs aren't real, Majestic Hero. Oh, the Beast of Bodmin Moor. It's just a bloody big cat. Have you seen how big cats get? So the Beast of Bodmin Moor is meant to be this, like, it's not even like a tiger. It's massive. And it's been around. I remember that when I was a kid. So Bodmin Moor is down south. It's like, you know, scary, desolate moors. And this Beast of Bodmin Moor. Don't go out past 10 o'clock in anything smaller than a Vauxhall Astra, because the Beast of Bodmin Moor will eat the car with you in it. And it's never been caught, because all it is somebody's cat that they fed too much. Like, cats can get really big if you overfeed them on Whiskers. It's just a big cat. Good cross into the box. Dale Gordon. Craig Gordon. What's his name? Anthony Gordon. Got there in the end. Lovely play by Livramento. He's going sideways. Get the shot off. Almiron. Goal! 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 Isaac. That's all from Livramento. This is a big, massive moment for Newcastle. Livramento sort of taking people on the edge of the box, going side to side. Gets it to Almiron, who shoots. Donnarumma. activating his Goldbridge career mode shit keeping, palms it out, and Isaac makes it 1-0. This is a massive goal. Massive goal. And they've only got themselves to blame here. Lovely play by Livramento into Almiron, gets the shot off, and Newcastle lead in Paris. Big, big goal, that. Who'd have thought it? You know, look, it only takes a minute, girl. It only takes a minute. I don't know why I said girl. I'm thinking about take that. It only takes a minute, girl. It only takes a minute. It takes less than that. But it's a fantastic goal given. And PSG losing to Newcastle here. And Newcastle fans will be very excited at the moment. This could be massive. Bam, 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 bam. Well, all I can do is praise Newcastle here. It's a fantastic goal. Loco says Eric Ten Hag's tactics are an urban myth. I mean, Donnarumma, I like Donnarumma, but is he a bit of a... I mean, talk about urban myths, football myths. Here we go. What footballers are a bit of an urban myth? It's perfect for the show. We've been talking about urban myths. What footballers are urban myths? Donnarumma, De Ligt. I like them, but I think their reputation is probably a little bit higher than their actual status in football. Like, I do think Donnarumma is a little bit overrated. I think De Ligt is overrated. I don't think Phil Foden is, Sam. Even as a United fan, I think Phil Foden is a decent player. But my issue with Donnarumma is because I like goalkeeping, and obviously I spend a lot of time with goalkeepers because I'm with Watto and Fozzie every week. But I always liked goalkeeping anyway. He palms it away a lot. He doesn't hold on to it enough for me. I don't think Van Dijk's an urban myth, a football myth. I think Van Dijk is a good player. I'm talking about players that are overhyped. Most British players will be by the media, to be fair. I knew someone would say Rashford. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not. There used to be an advert about that. Was it Bold? Not Ten Hag. I mean, like Bold, the washing up powder. Sancho, yeah, good one, Harvey. Grealish, maybe. Well, 100 million quid he probably is, yeah. I don't think De Jong's overrated, AZ. I think he's a good player. The way the group looks at the moment, Newcastle are second with 7 points. Dortmund are top with 10. Oh, Dembele's not going to get on the end of that. Very good player, Livramento. I thought that when Newcastle bought Livramento and Hall from Chelsea, I did think those two signings are really forward-thinking. Not just because they're attacking fullbacks, but I think that they are really good signings as well. He's having a good game so far, Livramento. Good block. It's going to be a long game for Newcastle. Oh my God, referee. This ref really needs to get his fucking cards out. He's atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. I mean, how is he not given a yellow card for that on Almiron? It's late, it's deliberate. There was one on Bruno Guimaraes as well. Not good enough. FIFA games contribute to footballer myths, says CJ. Sherlock Holmes Museum in London, says Nicholas. Yeah, he's not real either. Baker Street. You know what? I'm around that area of London. When I go down to London, I end up around Madame Tussauds and Baker Street a lot because I normally pass through that area where I need to go. And Sherlock Holmes isn't even real, and they've got his house. It's hilarious. It's like you know what? It's like some street in America saying this is where Mickey Mouse lives. In fact, someone's going to tell me that that is the truth. There is a place for that. Livramento was bought by Southampton first, Mark, says Dan. I know he was, but he's at Newcastle now. That's what I mean. He's a good signing. We've got a statue for Rocky in Philadelphia, says Sean. Disneyland is where Mickey Mouse lives. Good point. Well made. Here's Dembele. Good play. Oh, well. It was going wide. Pope palmed it out. Trippier clears it. What's... Yeah, I've read that one. Thank you very much. I'm just catching up here. VAR improving football is a massive myth, says Lee. Yeah, it certainly is. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. You're all very welcome on That's Football. Do you rate Andre, and why United not in for him, says John? I haven't seen enough of him to rate him, mate. I really am not going to pretend. I know Fulham want him. We'll probably see him in the Premier League very soon. Newcastle are really settling into this game. Man City are losing 2-0 to Leipzig, by the way. Let's not convince ourselves that it matters massively, because Man City are going to qualify from that group. They're massively, massively ahead. But... I'm just looking at the lineups for that game. Ortega, Walker, Diaz, Vardiel, Rodri, Akanji, Foden, Silva, Lewis, Grealish, Haaland. I mean, it's a strong Man City side. There's not really any major reason why they'd be losing, but they are. I can't believe I'm saying this, but as a Spurs fan, I didn't want the international break to end. I know we played well against Villa, but I had no hope, says DJ. Oh my God, DJ, that's really depressing. When you don't want the international break to end, you know you're in trouble. Openda's on a hat-trick as well, says Candy. Snap says City will end up winning 4-2 anyway. I don't know why. I mean, Pope, I suppose he can't grab hold of it, really. I mean, it should never go in, but he just palms it away, doesn't he? Simon says, do you think if PSG go out, it will push Mbappe to leave? I think I think I said that PSG were an outsider to win the Champions League because with no Messi and Neymar, I think they went for a more team-specific build. And they have got a lot of good players, but it's obviously just taken it a bit of time to gel because they have got a good squad. Got to be pleased for Miley. 17 and starting against PSG in the Champions League, says Puffy. Oh, it's amazing, yeah. It's a bit like Mainu for Man United, isn't it? He'll be playing tomorrow night. How's your Fantasy Premier League team doing, says FPL Fozzie? It's doing all right. I got 56 points, so not too bad. I just need to build on it this week. I like it when the FPL start the cup. You know, when you start to play a cup game. When does that start? Nice little cross in. Of course, Newcastle are playing Man United on Saturday night, and I'm worried about that. That's got to be a yellow card now. Yeah. He's booked him that time. Same player on Almiron, Agate. Oh, God. This will blow your mind. Hannah says Miley was 13 at the start of lockdown. Oh, my God. That really messes with your head. In the sense of lockdown feels like it was 5 minutes ago. Hannah says, start, bench, sell, what's its, Quavers, Skips. I'm starting Skips. I'm benching Quavers, and I'm selling what's its. Now, if it's spicy tomato what's its, which I don't think you can get anymore, they would be in contention. But then again, prawn cocktail Quavers, I don't think you can get them anymore either. There you go. There's an interesting topic for you. Things that aren't as good as they used to be. It's a bit like urban myths. Things that aren't as good as they used to be. Like, you think about it, spicy tomato what's-its were brilliant. I haven't seen that. I don't think they do them anymore. I do not think they do them anymore. I'm going to Google it. Spicy tomato what's-its. They were brilliant. Yeah. They don't do them. Prawn cocktail Quavers. Oh, they still do prawn cocktail Quavers, but they don't do spicy tomato what's-its. There you go. There's one. There's a contender. Things that aren't as good as they used to be. Milan have scored. It's 1-1. Chukwueze for Milan. 1-1. Manchester United, says Jack. Very good. Yeah, things that aren't as good as they used to be. James has gifted a membership there. You know what, though? But things that aren't as good as they used to be, I think that, quite rightly, the 80s gets a lot of stick for a lot of the things we hear about now, sexism and all that sort of stuff. But there were positives to the 80s. Some of the games we used to play, Army. I mean, that was brilliant. I bet they don't do that anymore. I used to love that when I was at primary school. You'd literally just start walking around the playground going, who wants to play? Army. Join on. No girls. And you just walk around. It was a brave thing to do. It was a brave thing to do because if no one joined on, you just looked like a prat talking to yourself who no one liked. But if you, even the most unpopular kid could start that off. You just walk around the playground going, who wants to play? Me. Join on. And then someone would come and put their arm. It was just very much camaraderie. They'd just come and put their arm around you, and then you'd walk around, 3 or 4 of you. Who wants to play? Me. Join on. And you get to about 8 and you go, right, 4 aside. And the imagination and creativity of the game was brilliant because you didn't have Nerf guns. You had a made-up gun, which was basically like Peter Kay says. It was like you're laughing when you had a machine gun. But people played in the spirit of the game. If you walked around a corner and someone was laughing at you with a gun, you would say, that's me dead. I'm out till the next game. There was no real cheating. There was more honesty in those days as well. I always used to like it when someone used to say, who wants to play? No, they didn't have anyone on. Who wants to play Star Trek? Join on. And I'd go, who wants to beat him up? Pile on. Eddie Howe replicating Fergie in the Champions League using a flat 4-5-1 against the top European team, says Jack. Even nostalgia ain't what it used to be, says Simon. And do you remember the Walker's Heinz ketchup flavour? I do, Esto. I was down the shop the other day. They had Walker's Christmas pudding flavour. I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all for these weird flavours they do. Like, you know, I quite like it when they do like a BLT or, I'm trying to think. But Christmas pudding flavoured crisps, get in the bin. Who remembers Kiss Chase at primary school? I bet it's not allowed these days. I used to get collared in the toilets by the rough girl, says Nick P. Extra days rest for Newcastle, says Kevin. Things that aren't as good as they used to be. On a serious note, I was really disappointed by this. In fact, I made a complaint. I was just not happy at all. The Natural History Museum in London. I went to that probably 15 years ago. Massively impressed. Loads of moving dinosaurs. Really, really interesting. Took Seb there about 3 years ago. And they'd moved it all around. They didn't have as many moving dinosaurs, and it was just not as good as it used to be. And I went and spoke to, you know, when you walk out and they always have some old person saying, probably doing it for free really, saying, did you enjoy your day? And I went, actually, no. It's nowhere near as good as it was 15 years ago. You've got rid of some of the moving dinosaurs, and for me, that's the best part about it. I'm not interested in bits of rock that are here from the prehistoric times when the earth was invented. I want to see moving dinosaurs, and you've got rid of them. I don't care about the cost. You should do better. Phileas Fogg crisps, says grumpy old hecklers, and snacks. They're tortilla chips. Yeah, they were good. British Bulldog got banned at our school because some kid cracked his head open. Yeah, we used to play that for about a week, and then it'd get 5 minutes, actually. 5 minutes. Football or Nothing says the earth was not invented. Prove it. Teams you would like to see from Championship in the Prem. I'm not talking about that. I'm more interested in things that are better now than they used to. Things that are not as good as they used to be. Dinosaurs are made up, so is evolution, says MSJ. Well, Newcastle are playing really well here. Oh, hold on a minute. Dembele cuts back the cross. No, intercepted. We're nearly at half-time here, and Newcastle are doing fantastic. They need to win, remember. If they lose, they're out. Oh, Christmas TV was a lot better than it is now. You can blame that on streaming services, though, really. And the sheer volume of porn that people can watch. Cheers for the laughs, Mark. Great community, says Niall. Thank you very much, mate. Oh, blocked, deflected, goes for a corner. Is Christmas as good as it used to be? I mean, you obviously, you know, that's a controversial one. It's definitely hyped more than it used to be. I can't stand the miserable people who go, though, all this hype, and it's basically just a glorified Sunday dinner. You miserable shit. I bet you're the sort of person who goes to Gran Canaria for Christmas. Shot straight at Pope from outside the box. UK isn't as good as it used to be, says Jack. Oh, you voted Brexit, didn't you? Adverts. Some iconic adverts from the early 2000s, says Ben. Mbappe would look bang average in the Premier League. He's overrated, says Red Army. Yeah, but you probably think Harry Maguire's better than Mbappe. So, goals in the Premier League used to be a lot better, says Sam. Well, we've spoken about this. You're absolutely correct. And you know why we used to get more great goals? I remember we used to get, that Garnacho goal at the weekend was brilliant, but it's very few and far between to see a goal like that now. Guarantee you, if you're of a certain age, late 90s, early noughties, all through the 90s actually, and early noughties, we used to get loads better goals. Loads better goals. So look at some of Letizier's, but there was also, remember that goal that, what was his name, who played for Portsmouth? Was it not Matty Cash, Matty somebody? Scored an absolute banger. He used to get loads of goals like that. I remember Yeboah's too. Can't remember that. What's his name? Cisse for Newcastle though. Against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Matt Taylor, that was it. We used to get I remember goal of the month. It's boring now, but I remember you sometimes on Match of the Day you'd watch goal of the month and you'd get 10 absolute bangers, and you don't get them anymore because of Pep. Because Pep, everyone wants to play like Pep. And Pep's style of football is possession-based into the penalty box, basically. So most goals we get scored now are in the penalty box. Nobody shoots, really, from 30, 40 yards anymore. So they're very few and far between. Football's changed. Football's become too statistical. If you've got the ball, you can't concede the goals. And if you keep the ball longer than the opposition, you can't concede the goal. Whereas if you shoot from 40 yards, you're giving the opposition the ball. And so there's less risks. We're talking about things that aren't as good as they used to be whilst watching this PSG. Wallace and Gromit was top Christmas TV, says Puffy. I tell you what, one of my biggest disappointments. Mbappe in the box. No, can't get it in the box. He's still in the box, but he's got 2 Newcastle players on him. Lays it to the edge. Mark had a club sandwich from O'Brien's Cafe yesterday, says Kyle. Do they still do the triple decker? That is the best sandwich in the world. In the world. Americans probably won't appreciate this, but in the UK, we used to produce really good sitcoms, comedies. Just absolute shite now. There's no. It's almost like we've forgotten to laugh. Like there are no good sitcoms in this in the UK. They're crap. Makes absolutely no sense. Oh, what a block! That to be fair to PSG there, that's just bad luck. And Mbappe puts the cross in. Mawani is on the 6-yard box, dead central, makes a good connection, and it just hits. I think it hits Shaw. Yeah, sitcoms and comedy are terrible now. I've got 3 or 4 sitcoms written. If somebody wants something, I mean, I'm funny. So imagine what my sitcoms are like. I'm telling you, they'd absolutely bang. But I'm here. I'll give you them for free. IT Crowd was very good, Gabriel, but it was a long time ago. Men Behaving Badly was ages ago. It's because of Wokes, says Dan. Yeah, but I still think you can write funny comedy without being racist or homophobic or sexist, or because let's be honest, a lot of the why is that not a penalty to Newcastle? Why is that not a penalty to Newcastle? Peep Show was very good. Sal Bruno and by Xavi Simons says very nice. But if you listen to a lot of sitcoms now from the olden days, I mean, I remember watching an Only Fools and Horses episode, and Del Boy says to Uncle Albert, "You get down," and uses a very derogatory word about, it's a racist word. Even in The Office, there's some subtle racism, isn't there? Homophobia, sexism, but you can still be funny without doing that sort of stuff. Friday Night Dinner was very good as well. It was outside the box, that handball. Okay, Sorry about that. I'm an idiot. He's an idiot. Sell Bruno and buy Xabi Simons, says very nice. Well, you're not being very nice. You're not being very nice at all. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. It's half-time here. And as it is half-time, we have to draw a big arrow towards Newcastle and say, this is bloody brilliant for the Premier League. And it's bloody brilliant for Newcastle. I mean, they are going to be very rich. They are going to be very powerful. But at the moment, they're not. You know, they're not. They're doing this with Craig Gordon and Miley Cyrus in the midfield and Lascelles at centre-back and Livramento and Trippier and Pope. This is amazing what Newcastle are doing, and they're giving themselves an opportunity. I mean, look at the stats. 14 shots from PSG, but they've only had 3 on target. 3 shots from Newcastle. They've had 2 on target. They lead 1-0 here. With regards to the group, they're in second place at the moment, and they've got a chance. Their final game is at home against AC Milan. They've got to stay in the game. They're halfway there. They're John Bon Jovi. Do you remember Phone Shop, Mark? Top show that is, says Keith. I don't think I watched that, to be honest with you. But big shout out to OneFootball, who sponsor our stats carousel that's going round there for you. Download it for free. Links in the description, and in the top right-hand corner, you can scan that QR code and get all your latest breaking football news, transfer news, and it has all the individual player stats as well, which is well worth checking out. We've had a good first half. Newcastle have had a good first half. People who would lose their minds with the real McCoy, says JMS. And Henry Danger is not a sitcom. Seb watches that. But we've been talking about urban myths. We've been talking about football urban myths, like players that are overrated. And also, we've been talking about things that aren't as good as they used to be, which could be football things. Lionel Messi's not as good as he used to be, is he? But that's age. Doctor Who isn't as good as it used to be, says Jack. I mean, I've never liked Doctor Who. I wouldn't go so far as to say that if you watch Doctor Who, you're a nonce, but I do not like Doctor Who. I don't like it. I used to watch it a little bit in the late 80s with Sylvester talk about McCoy. Sylvester McCoy. I used to watch it a little bit then, but I haven't watched it for a while. I wonder if I have broke my finger. I don't think I have. I can bend it, but I can't bend it completely. But it could just be bruised. I don't know. Jay says life isn't as good as it used to be. Jay, speak to people. Life's a gift. As Ronan Keaton says, life is a roller coaster. You just got to ride it. Sorry, Mark, but missed my super chat. Van Dijk or Rio, says Daham. I feel it's a question I can't answer. And I don't like not answering, but I feel it's a question I can't answer. You know, my problem with Rio is I just think, like, the stuff he came out with about the Garnacho being unfollowed by Messi stuff and, you know, going live on his phone about there's some big news coming about the sale tomorrow and sign this contract. I just think it's not his... As a footballer, he is very good, but as a pundit, it just comes across as a bit... Urban myth, Man City before 2008, says Gareth. And Van Dijk isn't even close, says Lars. I think Van Dijk's a good player. I do think he's a good player. What's happening to Spurs? And hi, Mark. Even though I'm only 17, the 80s and 90s and noughties sound way better, as it sounds like people could actually be themselves. But we live in a wannabe and social media era now, says Boy. The 90s were great. They were great because the great thing about the 90s was music, TV, and football were just so exciting. Like, there were so many shows on TV that'd blow your mind now. Like, they were amazing. You know, TFI Friday, The Word. It was just... Top of the Pops was good as well. It was just a really vibrant TV scene. And then you had the music as well. You know, you had the whole Britpop thing going on. And then football had just got used to the Premier League. So it was just, you know, the mid-90s were brilliant. Like, absolutely brilliant. So, Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. But I think technology has changed everything. Like, look at football. It's been ruined by technology. Look at music. It's been ruined by technology. Look at TV. It's been ruined by technology. I'm speaking facts here. I've never said this before. Technology has ruined everything that was good. Music, we don't really have a chart anymore. That music's still there, but it's not as easy, you know. It used to be really easy to be diverse with music because you had the charts and you'd have a boy band at number 10, a girl band at number 6, you'd have some rapper at number 3, you'd have Meatloaf at number 2. It was just very diverse, the music, and you became aware of it because of shows like Top of the Pops. TV was, big production, really good, but now you've got streaming services all over the place. There's about 1 million channels, so it's also so diluted. And football has been ruined by technology, as we've seen with VAR. The beautiful game has just been diluted. So, yeah, it's a good point, in my opinion. Everything that was fundamentally good 20 years ago has been destroyed by technology. Dilution. Less is more. Less is more. Anyway, we don't want to go too deep. Less is more and too deep. We're not in the right conversation here. Spitting image isn't as good as it used to be. I didn't even know it existed, Dr. Kempo. I mean, look, I'm looking at this chance for Mbappe. He should score this. Look at it. Cross comes in. He should hit it. I mean, that's just complete and utter stupidity from Mbappe there. Why does he not hit it with his right foot? I remember, one thing that is better than it used to be is I remember I used to go to the pub, and although I used to do it, smoking in pubs. Imagine going in a pub now or a restaurant and people smoking. You can smell it a mile off, and it was normal. Arsenal Invincibles or Man City Centurions, which was better, says Lord. Centurions, because they've got more points. Baywatch in the 90s was all about Pam and Palm, says Gareth. Is that a statement or a question? And I will do anything for love, but I won't do that, says Snaps. And people said the same during the Industrial Revolution. You're just getting old, Mark, says Flo. Well, I'm not, and I don't really want to talk about this because we're watching a game of football. But I'm not wrong. Music is not as accessibly interesting as it used to be. Like, there should be a chart show. It would make it far more appealing to the masses, but we don't have it anymore because it's all download this, download this, download this, download this. There are no good sitcoms on British TV anymore, and there used to be loads. And football is visibly diluted. We talk about it every bloody week on this channel. Football is not as good as it used to be. We've just given 2 massive indicators of football not being as good as it used to be. We hardly ever get good goals anymore. They're few and far between because football's just so possession-based now. And we're constantly talking about bad decisions and games being slowed down. So, look, we're here to talk about football. I'm telling you now, football is not as good as it used to be 10 years ago because we've diluted it. And this is what happens. This is what happens. I think you hit a plateau of perfection and then you keep trying to change things. Like, they're talking about doing sin bins now. They're talking about trialing sin bins. I can't speak. Why do you keep bringing new things in when you've not mastered the shit you brought in before? It's like in the Premier League this year, we're going to add loads of minutes on to stop time wasting. You haven't mastered VAR. You haven't mastered VAR. It's like, I nearly said something then, but it's like being with someone and, I'm going to progress up north now and start playing with that. No, you're not, because you haven't mastered down there yet. And it's true. It's true. Before you move on to something else, master what you're good at. Master the thing that you're crap at. And it's true. Oh, let's bring sin bins in. But you haven't even mastered red cards and yellow cards yet. Ridiculous. And this is what they do. They're always bringing in changes. And it just ruins the game. They're ruining the game. Best beer, mate, says Alex. I'm not really a beer connoisseur. I'll drink it. I go out with people. If you go into a pub and they haven't got a certain beer brand on tap, they want to go to another pub, and I'll be like, I'll just have a Foster's. AI music artists are a thing now. It's depressing, says Jack. It's incredible, isn't it? The Office English or American version, says Lord Loss. Look, I prefer the Gervais one because it's the original, but I think it's incredible that The Office only had 14 episodes when you count season 1 and 2 and the Christmas specials, and The Office in America had, what, I don't know, over 100. I mean, that's where I've never understood why we're so shit at doing that. In America, they can churn out episode after episode after episode after episode, and in the UK we do 6 or 7 and go, that's it, we've done enough. The Youngs ones was awesome, and that was Who Said That. Mark, what do you make of Star Wars now versus back then? It's shit now. And I'm not interested in Marvel, but a lot of people are waking up to that as well. Too much of it. If anyone is my age, can you remember the terror of the Heartbeat theme on a Sunday evening, says Lee. Yeah, it was shit. Sunday, I tell you what, here's one for you. We've been talking about things that aren't as good as they used to be. Well, let's talk about things that are better than they used to be. And hands down, hallelujah, I'll give this to modern times. Sundays are way better now than they used to be. Sundays when I was growing up, oh my God. I think that's where my depression started. Sundays were horrible. Absolutely horrible. Horrible. There wasn't 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock bloody football kickoffs. You got one game at 3 o'clock. That was it. Normally, it was complete wall-to-wall shit on the TV. Last of the Summer Wine, Songs of Praise, Heartbeat. There was no soaps on a Sunday. You only had 4 channels. It was preparing you for depression. It was horrible. Sundays were crap. And Sundays are a lot better now. They're a lot better now. Did you see Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis? I did. I thought it was all right, Nicholas. And artists can't make money off music anymore. The music industry got ruined by streaming platforms who pay less than a penny per play. It's so sad, says Football or Soccer. Well, it ruined the sitcom industry as well, because it costs a lot of money to make sitcoms, and it's a big risk for TV stations to make them. So, they make cheap shit like Homes Under the Hammer. You watch much horror, Mark, says Brian. No, I don't. London's Burning was I actually quite liked that. Where do you think Villa will finish? Also, do you think City are looking beatable this season, says Jack? I hope City are beatable this season. The more points City drop, the better title race we'll get. If you had to have a pint of beer, what would it be, says Alex? You're really interested in this, aren't you? What's my ideal pint of beer? You know what? I don't know whether anybody actually relates with this. I don't even know if I like beer. And that sounds really weird because I drink it. But I remember when I started drinking it at like 16, I just drank it because that's being a man. That's being a bloke. I never really liked it. And I remember when I used to buy cans at home, I'd get one out of the fridge, open the can, take a big sip, and then go in the cupboard and get some Ribena or something and put it in the top to make it taste a little bit sweeter. As I've got older, I do like it, but I don't know whether it's like forced like. I mean, I do like it, I do like it, but I don't know that I ever take a lager and go, that's lovely. Hi Mark, hope you're well. Friend just wanted to say that my pub loves seeing your reactions, and if you're ever in Boston, the first pint is on me, says Sully. Love it. Here we go, second half. What are we thinking then? Do you think Newcastle can hold this out? It's so exciting. They're 1-0 up in Paris. They need to win to survive. Can they do it? Imagine Wagons says, cider is better than beer. It's sweeter than beer. It's sweeter than beer. Right, players are coming out onto the pitch. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. And can I just give a shout out to the podcast as well? Links in the live chat. Goldbridge Saves Football. It comes out at 7 a.m. every Tuesday. We also have a Friday preview one as well. Please do check it out. Just help us out. It's a new podcast, independent, and me and Will do it, and we're really enjoying doing it. So the more people who listen to it, the more we'll do it. So please do check it out, the podcast. The great thing about the podcast is that you can listen to it on a walk, in the bath, in bed. Don't do anything other than relax, and not in that way. But please do support the podcast, Goldbridge Saves Football. It's on all podcasting platforms. Links in the live chat. Heineken or Coors? I do like Heineken, boy. I do like that. Podcast Ultras, says Nathan. Yes, looking forward to seeing some of you at the Christmas show. Oh, Isaac's in. Trying to get a shot off. Needs a bit of help. Lays it off. Oh, they've missed the opportunity. On the break. On the break. They are a threat, Newcastle. Kenneth says, creepy drama series like Armchair Thriller and The Tales of the Unexpected. Nothing like that on terrestrial TV now. This is Kenneth. Is Tales of the Unexpected, was that the one with the horrible music? What was the one with the cards? Remember the one with the cards? A pack of cards. Horrible music. I hated it when it used to come on. Someone's talking about snow. I'm living in Germany, so don't mind a beer now and again, says Lee. We're in Paris, aren't we, Mark? We're in Paris. Phoenix says, are you going to do a That's Football in Real Life show sometime? Well, there is a That's Football section on the Christmas show in Manchester on December the 11th if you want to come along. Just search United Stand Christmas show. But we're looking to do that next year. Sully loves the winter time. It's snowing in Scotland, says Billy. Scooby-Doo. It's snowing in Scotland. It's pretty cold here. Ali McCoist, it's pretty cold here. In the UK at the moment. We've got no snow coming in we've got no snow coming in where I live, but -3 tomorrow, -4 Thursday, -4 on Friday. Top temperature 3 degrees, but we've got no snow. We need get no snow. But it's cold. Oh, I'll tell you what. Oh, I probably lost it. I'm going to find it. What am I supposed to do? Sit around and wait for you? Well, I can't do that. Why is that in my head? It's bloody Cher. I feel sad that you're losing. It takes time just to lose it. Oh, here we go. This is what I was going to look at. Your finger's not as good as they used to be, says Dahum. I don't know what you're talking about. And Thomas the Tank Engine was better in the 90s, says Christian. Yeah, it's crap now. Absolutely crap. Computer generated when it used to be real. Josh says that song was just in my head as well. I don't know why it was in mine. Something weird going on. Can you give me an idea for a game to make, says Skell? A game? I remember going through a phase where I wanted to design a computer game. I think I did design a computer game. You've got me thinking now. I can't remember what it was. I don't know what it was. I remember writing a. I remember sending it to Konami. Twat. Well, you got to have a dream. I definitely sent a proposal for a computer game to Konami, and I probably spent a month doing it. I just can't remember what it was. I didn't do the code. I just did the story. Guy from Boston, where is your pub? I'll come by, says Tevin. And what's worse than two girls running with scissors, says Miles. Is that code for Scissor Sisters? Because a lot of people quite like that. I invented Roblox. Yeah. Look into the Watchalong live shows idea I gave you a while back, says Treble Champ. I can't remember it. Oh, I do. I do remember it, yeah. Straight Prawn Boy says, Man United isn't as good as it used to be. It's snowing in Newcastle, says Lil. Silver Fox Bridge, says Rui. I was looking at this earlier. The biggest lies you were told as a kid that you still believe. From urban myths to popular health misconceptions, parents often tell their children anything that will reduce tantrums and get the kids to do what they want. Unfortunately, some of these myths are perpetuated and passed down from generation to generation. So we've got some for you. Yeah, well, this one's this a lot of people will relate to this one. If you pee in the pool, it will turn red. Now, I didn't used to get told that. I used to get told if you pee in the pool, it will turn orange, which is sort of red. And it's still a myth that goes around now. There's something in the chlorine that if you urinate, it turns green around you. And I used to actually believe that. But if you think that scenario through, if you were in your local swimming baths and you go for a piss and then suddenly the water around you goes red, the lifeguard is probably going to think you've been attacked by a shark or something and jump in and save you, in which case he's jumping into a load of piss. But even if the lifeguard knows that that means you've had a piss in the water, what's he going to do? You're right, get out. You've pissed in the pool. I mean, yeah, just. But I remember that. I remember that. I definitely remember that one being a thing. Oh, this is an interesting one. This will get the boffins thinking. Let's just see what happens here with this attack from PSG. James says, do you see Newcastle winning this? I don't want to jinx Newcastle. I do not want to jinx Newcastle. I'd love them to win. It'd be great for the Premier League. I tell you what, if they get through the group, it will really help us. I mean, we've not mentioned this tonight. Everyone keeps thinking 5th place might get us another spot in the Champions League next year. It won't if Man United and Newcastle go out. It won't. Like, it's based on your performances in Europe. And if we lose Man United and Newcastle before the group stage, we will not. Coefficient matters, BC, exactly. So I want Newcastle to do well anyway because I quite like Eddie Howe. But I also want them to do well because it'll help us get 5 places into the Champions League. That's a yellow card. Yeah. For the PSG player, pulled him away. This is an interesting one. Listen to this. Biggest lies you were told when you were kids. If you drop a penny from the top of the Empire State Building, it will kill someone. Well, that's surely true. I don't think that's a lie. And plus, I would never get told that because what would I be doing on top of the Empire State Building? But this is, I don't know whether this is true. It says it's false. If a penny travelling around 60 miles an hour, about the top speed at which a penny reaches when dropped from the top of the building, it will only mildly sting someone if it hits them. Well, I suppose that's true, isn't it? I would have thought if you drop a penny from the top of a very high building, it just accumulates speed and would really, really hurt you. But apparently not. Even now, I think that's true. Here we go. I'm not a bot. The terminal velocity isn't fast enough to kill someone. It's about terminal velocity and air resistance. There's some intelligent people in this chat. Robert's there as well. Ryan says if it was a £2 coin, you're dead. They did it on Mythbusters, says Guess. Did you see Charlie McNeil has been recalled from his loan at Stevenage? They are doing well too. Any inside info on what triggered that decision, says Aaron? Just not getting enough game time, mate. Not getting enough game time. Scooby-Doo. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. It's been a good show. Enjoying it. Please do subscribe. City scored with Erling Haaland. I've got another one for you in a minute anyway. I'm just stretching my back. Gregory. Greg, I'm going to have to read it out. It's going to be here we go. Oh, Nick Pope, 1-on-1. Mbappe. No. Blocked. Oh, Newcastle survive. They survive. Nick Pope came running out at the feet. I think it was Dembele. Got there, and then it fell to Mbappe, who couldn't really connect. He's not having a good game. Not having a good game. Gregory just came up with a really concerning that it might be hard for some people to hear this, and not in that way, because if it is hard in that way, you've got a real problem. Gregory said, things we were told as kids that were lies on a Sunday afternoon when your parents said they were going for a lie down upstairs and not to disturb. I've got to say, I've been there, and thankfully I never disturbed them, but I think we all know they didn't like reading, and they didn't have a TV in their room. If you know, you know. Garnacho, Hoyland, Palestri, Mainu and Hannibal, says Jazz. Just naming names. And Mark, how is Gordon not even getting a look at England, playing consistently well in the league and playing Champions League football? It makes no sense, says Connor. It makes lots of sense. There's one word that explains it. Southgate. Look at the pace of Dembele there, but the foul's been given. LFC Gamer says, what was your first game console you got as a kid? Mine was a Sega Mega Drive back in the 90s. High five. Mine was a Sega Mega Drive. My very first console that I owned that was mine was a Mega Drive, because we weren't particularly well off. I had friends and other relatives that had like BBC Computer, you know, the one with the red F buttons and that. But and I think I had a friend who had you know, the original Nintendo 8-bit. Lovely ball over the top. Gordon's alive. Oh, he's not. So the Mega Drive was the first one I had. What was the original Nintendo? You know, the grey one with the two oblong controllers. It was just an NES, wasn't it? Some people had Spectrums, yes, but the Mega Drive was my first one, and the first game I had was, oh god, you're gonna love this, because I can't fucking stand the game, but I liked the computer game. My first Mega Drive game was PGA Tour Golf. I don't know why I'm laughing. PGA Tour Golf. I think it was because my stepdad liked it. So it was a good game to play, and I was very good at it, but I can't stand golf in real life. So yeah, PGA Golf. I got a load of games for Christmas. I had PGA Golf. Oh, lovely play by Gordon. That's the last man, Skriniar. Yellow card. Newcastle are a threat on the break here. Trippier will shoot from here as well. No, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was Christmas. When did the Mega Drive come out? I don't mean when did the Mega Drive come out as being gay, by the way. I mean, when did it come out? Oh, hello, I'm a Mega Drive, and I like Master Systems. 89 it came out, so It's hard to say whether I would have got it in 90 or whether I got it in 91. But I remember getting that Mega Drive. Oh, just looking at the picture of the Mega Drive now takes me back. Oh, yeah. Had 2 controllers as well. Whack it in the top. Yeah, I remember the games I got as well. Let's see what happens with this free kick. Trippier hits the top of the wall. I haven't got it anymore, no. If I remember correctly, it broke anyway. Yeah. Everyone who had a Mega Drive, it broke. You remember you used to blow the top of the... Not like that. That's the wrong movement. Remember the cartridges that you'd blow? Because sometimes they wouldn't work. And it literally, you'd blow along it, put it back in and it would work. But I remember I got Italia 90 World Cup, Sonic, the Grand Prix one. I think it was called Monaco GP. I did a bad thing actually because I don't know how I got away with this. But the Mega Drive was mine. It was mine. It was bought for me, and I got my sister to get computer games. Oh, I'm such an arse. I got her to get computer games for the Mega Drive for Christmas. And when family members said, will you let her use it? I was like, yeah, of course I will. So I got a football game and a Grand Prix game. And then she got Sonic, because I wanted that, and Moonwalker. I don't know what I never liked Michael Jackson. I think that was hers. And what else did I get her to get? Desert Storm. What was that one with the helicopter? Desert Strike. Yeah, she was only about 7. I can't. Well, I blame the parents. I don't know how I got away with that. John's selling one with 13 games. Did she ever get a turn? No. I was on that I'd get off the school bus and I'd sprint home. Literally get in my bedroom, whack it on, and that was it until I had to go to bed. Just a roundup of the other games going on in football today. Man City are losing 2-1 at the moment. Dortmund are beating AC Milan 2-1 in the San Siro. So that puts Dortmund basically through if it stays like that. Atletico Madrid are beating Feyenoord 2-0. Barcelona are beating Porto 2-1. There are games in the Championship tonight if you're interested. Hull 4, Rotherham 1. Middlesbrough 3, Preston 0. Watford 2, Norwich 2. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Stoke City 2. Coventry City 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Cardiff City 0. West Bromwich Albion 1. Remember you used to listen to that when you were a kid? The scores. And the guy who read it out, you could tell what the result was going to be by the tone of his voice, where he'd go like, Charlton Athletic 1, Cheltenham Town 1. Exeter City 0, Shrewsbury Town 5, Oxford United 3, Bolton Wanderers 0. They're not real schools, by the way. I'm just making it up. Oh, there's games in Notts County are winning 3-1, and Wrexham playing today 2-2 with Harrogate Town. Oh, I used to love that. Absolutely used to love that. Football, full-time results used to come in at 4:45. Put it on BBC One. Music would come on. I sometimes put it on YouTube and it just makes me feel dead nostalgic. Bob Wilson. Final Score is what it was called. Yeah, brilliant. It's not the wrong song, Snaps. They definitely used that music on Final Score. 100%. It was good times, Chris. I used to love it. St. and Greavesy! Oh my God! Is that a save by Pope? That save is world class. Pope's having another worldie in Europe here. We need to see a replay. We need to see a replay there. That is an amazing save. How did he say it? Oh, CT. Oh, we've not seen it. It's an injustice to keeping. We need to see this again. It looked to me like it was unbelievable. I do remember grandstand. Dun dun diddle diddle dun 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 dun. Bam 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 bam. Ba ba da boom, boom, boom. It was lovely. I loved it. I used to sit there refreshing CFAX. The suspense as it took 30 minutes to load was infuriating, says Charlie Max. They still haven't shown us the replay of this save on TNT. Disgusting. If you've seen it everywhere, great. You'll never understand. I feel blessed to have lived through it all, and you'll never understand the joy of watching teletext for your score updates. Here we go. He's going to surely score this time. Nope, side netting. World Wealth Wave, thank you very much for your super chat. So basically, we used to put this thing on called teletext, and it was before Sky, so there was no Soccer Saturday, and basically, you'd type in this score updates page that would be on your TV, and it was digital. Like it would just say Arsenal 0-0 Liverpool, and it'd have three matches on each page, and then it would change to page 2, and it would rotate probably 15 seconds on each page. So if Man United were on page 3, you'd wait for it to come round. Oh, still 0-0, and that's what used to happen. You'd watch it on your TV just going round for 45 minutes. And so, and that was it. And then suddenly it'd come round and go 1-0, Hughes, 18 minutes. And you go, get in. You know nothing about the goal. That's just what used to happen. It was, and we loved it. Live score is Telestex for Zoomers. The Vidi printer as well. 302, wasn't it? Oh, referee's looking at it. They still haven't shown that Pope replay. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. PSG are looking for a penalty here. I don't think it was. Simple times, Mark, says Mark. Yeah. Oh, he's going to go and have a look at this. Start, bench, sell. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson. Favourite movie of each, says Sonoff. I think De Niro's the GOAT. Pacino second and Jack Nicholson third. Favourite movie of each? Probably The Departed, Jack Nicholson. Pacino, probably Godfather. De Niro, Heat. And I could swap those two around. They're doing a VAR penalty check here. I don't know. This is horrific. No penalty. No penalty. This is absolutely horrific what's going on here. We haven't seen the Pope replay of the save. And oh, I tell you what, that could be a penalty. I don't know. Does he touch the ball? Player simulates. Gets a little bit of the ball. It's debatable. Mark, did you ever play the pool? Such a weird concept. Now we have betting apps and all sorts, says Nick. I never did, no. They showed the Pope save 3 times. I didn't see it. I was probably pissing around chatting with you lot. Do you think that was a penalty? Paul, here we go. Penalty or not? Yes or no? Let's put it this way. It's 3-1 to Dortmund. I've seen them given. That's my get out. I've seen him given. I've seen him. I'll tell you what. I've seen him given. I have seen him. I have seen him given. But surely PSG will equalise here. I missed the Pope replay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Although Warren G didn't see it. I think on the penalty it's 50-50. I'm glad it wasn't given. They showed it like 4 times while you were singing, says Basil. I can't sing and watch. Spot the ball. I remember that. I always thought I was going to win spot the ball. That was a big old con, wasn't it? City have equalised, by the way. Well, I'm just going to say this. Very impressed with Newcastle. Very, very impressed with Newcastle so far. To be in this position with this long left is fantastic. 20 minutes to go. If they win, they're on cloud 9. A draw for Newcastle. What does a draw do? Let's have a look. Well, at the moment, they're in a great position. If they draw, as it stands, they are currently in second place with 7 points, and Dortmund are top with 10. If they were to draw, they'd still potentially have a chance of going through because they've got a better head-to-head record against PSG, haven't they? I think that's right. Beautiful straight. I don't know where I'm getting all these songs from today. PSG on the attack with Dembele. Good cross. They've made some subs here. PSG. Here's Mbappe. Newcastle have defended so well. Yeah, the substitutions for PSG. Vittina's come on. And Barcola has come on for Mawani. What's happened to that Zaire Emery? I've got him in my FIFA team. Where's he? Is he injured? Harry says PSG aren't that good. Yeah, he's injured, says Danny. Thank you very much. Here we go. Biggest lies you were told as a kid. I'm going to give you another one. Sitting too close to the television damages your eyes. Apparently it doesn't harm eyesight. But then I say to my kids, sitting on your phone all the time damages your eyes. Is that a myth then? I would have thought that being close to something that's bright and causes your eyes to concentrate would lead to strains. So sitting on your phone in the dark, looking at a screen for hours, doesn't do anything to your eyesight? I don't know. I don't know about that. It's a myth. Okay, it's a myth. Zepho says this game's ended up being the most boring game of the night. You're talking out your arse, mate. This is not boring. This is intense. Newcastle really didn't have a chance of doing anything here. If they win, it's great for the Premier League because I think it will massively help the coefficient thing. And if we get another spot. Oh, the pace of Mbappe is good, but it ain't that quick. Pope's quick off his line. I'm trying to find another good one. What we got here? 15 minutes left. Oh, God, I've got an interesting one for you here. Growing up in New York City in the 80s, 90s, we were told that 8-foot alligators lived down in the sewers, says Anne. Well, I think they do, don't they? City are winning 3-2. Snaps said this. When they were 2-0 down, he said they'd win 4-2. So give some credit to Snaps. If you eat cheese before you go to bed, you'll dream. I used to get told that. CT80 says Newcastle have been parking the bus for 35 minutes, but you can't blame them. Oh, City haven't scored. They're not winning at the moment. It's still 2-2. Here's one for you. Biggest lies you were told as a kid. A dog year is equivalent to 7 human years. I still tell people that now. I thought that was true. So a dog year is equivalent to 7 human years. But apparently, according to the breed, a dog year is closer to the equivalent of 15 human years. Which again doesn't make sense because I've got a dog that's 14. Which would mean it's over 200 years old. Hannah's right. Eating crusts give you curly hair. I've always said that a dog year is equivalent of 7 years. But then again, you do get certain dog breeds that die at 7. So that would mean they'd die at 49. Which is no age. You need to study hard to be successful, says Shahin. Cross comes in, cleared away by Newcastle again. Cross comes in again. Eating carrots improves your night vision. I used to get told that one, yeah. If you swallow chewing gum, it will take 7 years to digest. That's a myth. Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I definitely used to get told this one. You know, pips in apples and oranges. If you eat one of them by accident, an apple tree will grow in your stomach. Yeah. Eating 60 slices of American cheese during the night and look at the sun in the morning, you will go blind, says Benny. And pulling faces and if the wind changes, you'll stick like that, says James. Yeah, I've heard that one. Surely some of these players will be tired on Saturday night, says Vincent. Well, Man United are playing Newcastle on Saturday night, but this is Tuesday night. Man United are playing in Turkey tomorrow, so Newcastle have got the advantage. I'm sure both teams will be tired, but Newcastle are playing 24 hours before, and they'll be playing at home. Oh, James, I've heard this one. Apparently being told that dogs see in black and white. But you know what? Apparently that's a myth that dogs see in black and white, right? But how do we know? No, how do we know? Like, how do we know they see in colour? Somebody bin a dog and then come back. How do you figure that one out? You turn orange if you eat too many carrots, as words in Hannah. You turn orange if you eat too much butternut squash. That's true. They are Scooby-Doo, says Shadow, yeah. Cross comes in again. Hey, we've only got 10 minutes here for Newcastle to survive. I once got told if you sneeze and keep your eyes open, your eyeballs will pop out of their sockets, says Daniel. I got told that, and I don't think they'll have this on this website, but I got told that if you sneeze... Oh! Dembele, front post, puts it wide. Shahin says this one's universal for no reason, telling your younger siblings they were adopted, says Shahin. I got told that a sneeze is 1/7 of an orgasm. I don't know if it's true or not. Here we go. Reading in the dark damages your eyes. I tell this to my daughter all the time because she's always on her phone in the dark. The eye strain from insufficient light may cause a headache, but it will not cause any damage to your actual eyes or eyesight. Oh, I'm learning here. I'm learning here. This is a funny one. Lies we were told as kids. The family pet went to live on a farm. Yeah, bloody thick. It's dead. Mark, did you ever get any exotic disease as a child? Me and my brother played with some stray cats on holiday and got ringworm all over our body. Oh, Nick, I don't want to talk about stuff like that. I don't like that sort of stuff. As long as it's not rabies. Oh, you know what? I don't know where you're going to be on this. This is a true story, right? True story. Somebody I used to work with, their mum died when probably about October time. And we were out for a drink, a few of us, and he said his mum had died and she'd had the funeral and that. And I knew he had kids. So I was like, oh, it must be really, really hard telling your kids because they were like 7 and, I don't know, 5 and 8 or something like that. And he said, no, we haven't told him yet. And I said, but this was like a month after the funeral. I said, what do you mean you haven't told them? That, you know. And they were like, no, we've just told them that she's gone on holiday. That is a true story. I don't know the end of the story because I went and worked in another job, but that is a true story. Like their gran died, and then he told them that Granny had gone on holiday. Fucking hell. Absolute. Shit. So, well, as Lewis says, it's sort of right in a way. But I don't know. In fact, I'm actually going to try and find that person on my WhatsApp now and message them and say, we were talking about you on a stream to 14,000 people. When did you tell the kids the truth? But I can sort of get it in a way. You want to protect your kids. But actually, as I've said to you many times before, life is about the good and the bad. You've got to learn, you know, some people get harsh lessons when they're very young. What else? I'm purposely trying to move the time quicker here because I just want it to get to 90 minutes for Newcastle. Be a big win. She's gone to the same place as Curtis's gran, says Jeet. Yeah. Rest in peace, Curtis's gran. What was my first phone? I don't know what it was. I think it might have been a Motorola or something. It was a bloody brick. It was like that. It was just like... Yeah, I remember it was light grey, and I always wanted a flip phone. I remember getting a Samsung phone that was about that big, and it was silver, and you flipped it. It was great. This is quite funny. Andrew said she must have gone to Costa del Solitude. Oh, that's harsh but funny. Samsung A800. I'm going to check. That might have been what it was. We've got a phone geek in the chat. No, it wasn't that. It was more blocky than that. That's too rounded. Yeah, it wasn't that. It was very oblongy. It was about the same size, but it wasn't rounded. It was very blocky. I think I've still got it somewhere. I was once told that whoever smelt it definitely dealt it. Typical gaslighting behaviour, says Vacation. And shot and wide. Mbappe, one at Pope and one wide. This is turning into panic stations for PSG. I've got to say, from Newcastle's point of view, we're all focused on Newcastle, or most of us, for the win. But from PSG's point of view, this is not acceptable. At home, against Newcastle, they've had bloody ages to equalise. The agenda boys are in the mud. Their favourite managers are all underperforming, so now they mention Flick, says K Flow. Jeet says the football gods are with Newcastle. Well, even a point for PSG would change this around a lot and put Newcastle into a difficult situation. But they're running out of time. They're running out of time. An offside here as well. And remember, in the Champions League, you don't get 20 minutes added on. Talking about added on, we're only 90 subscribers away from 65,000. So please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner to do that. You're very welcome on That's Football. Our next watch-along, well, my next watch-along is tomorrow night at 5:45. It's an early kickoff. It's Man United against Galatasaray in Turkey. 5:45 kickoff, so early tomorrow night. Next watch-along on here is Saturday, Arsenal Wolves at 3 o'clock. But we've got daily content on here. We do like little reactions and win, lose or draw with Ben Foster. That's out on Thursday. Win, lose or draw here. Where are we going? Surely Newcastle don't concede late. That's going for a corner. And it has gone for a corner. It would be harsh on Newcastle not to win this now. It's bouncing around in the box. Nothing going on. 89th minute. Phoenix says Newcastle deserved the win. It's weird. It's weird how the Champions League do have games at 5:45. That's wild shot from distance there. You know you're doing well when PSG are shooting from 40 yards. Josh says, any underdogs you favour to win the Champions League? Look, I think Man City are firm favourites to win the Champions League. But away from that, if Newcastle are going to Paris and winning, it just makes you think, how strong is the Premier League again? Bit of a conflict, bit of a debate going on in the live chat about whether Newcastle actually deserve to win. Well, they do deserve to win because there were 8 minutes in the Champions League. That you never get more than 3 or 4 in Europe. 8 minutes? That's incredible. That's incredible. I really don't know where that's come from. Look, I watch a lot of Champions League football, and I'm sure you do as well. This ain't the Premier League. In Europe, you very rarely get over 2 or 3 minutes. So that's more than double what you normally get. A big chance there for PSG on the back post. He's whacked it way over the bar. The PSG should have scored. I mean, they should have scored there. They should have scored loads of goals. Graham says football was becoming an utter joke. I mean, I don't know where 8 minutes has come from. I can't even think. The penalty check. I mean, but they don't normally bother with that sort of stuff in Europe. Mark, can you speak Spanish? Hola. Por favor. Gracias. Pintos. Feliz Navidad. We're in Paris, aren't we? Says Curly. Corner to PSG. There's still 6 more minutes to go here. Asensio shoots over the bar again. Is he? What is he up to? Stop bloody shooting from 40 yards out, you prat. La Cuenta. That's the bill, Dad. United versus Copenhagen had 13 added minutes, says Sean. Yeah, but that was because of... wow, that was that an injury that something happened in that game? I remember that. Something happened in that game. Still 5 minutes to go here. We've had 3 of the added 8. Newcastle would be very disappointed, obviously, to concede, but they'd also be very disappointed to concede, considering they're basically just parking their bus now, which is their right in the last few minutes. PSG is struggling to find a way through. 26 shots from PSG. It's well lucky, says CT80. 28 shots now, but only 6 on target. PSG just probing around the edge of the box here, but still around the edge of the box. He's going to shoot again. Well, if I was Newcastle, I'd be very happy with this, because all PSG seems to be able to do is shoot from about 30 yards. Newcastle clear it away. We've had half of the 8 minutes here. Get it out, says Gems. Screening it. That's a bad pass. And they're going to give it. Surely going to give that one. I think this is going to get given. He's not giving it. The referee's running away. If this is going to get given, this is a penalty, 100%. I can see that from bloody Solihull. This is going to be a penalty. Oh, it's so unlucky for Newcastle, but it will be a penalty. It clearly hits his hand, and the bad thing is, in Europe, they don't give a shit. They don't think about where your hand is. They don't give a shit. This is a penalty. This is heartbreak for Newcastle, because this is going to be a penalty. And it's going to, if they score it, it has a massive impact. In Europe, if it hits your hand, it's a bloody penalty. They don't care. But the point is, that handball has happened in the fifth minute of added time, and I don't think there should have been. This is harsh. Well, Nick Pope's been a hero. He might have to be a hero again. We've not seen the screen, but I mean, I knew it hit his hand. Oh, did it? Hit his chest first. Oh, yeah. He's going to give it. I mean, that's not going to get given in the Premier League, by the way. That's not a penalty in the Premier League. But in Europe, they'll give it. Yeah, giving it. That is never a penalty in the Premier League. Never in a million years. You know, it's hit his body and then it's hit his hand. So these don't get given in the Premier League. But in Europe, if it hits your hand, it gets given. That's massive. This is massive because if they score this, Newcastle drop from 7 points to 5 points and PSG go from 6 points to 7 points, which means that PSG, well, Newcastle wouldn't be out, but they'd have to beat Milan in Newcastle, and Milan would still have a chance of going through as well, and PSG would go to Dortmund. But he's not scored it yet. It's Mbappe against Pope. He hasn't scored it yet. And I thought he'd saved it. He has scored it. Top corner. Fucking hell. Football, eh? Football, eh? And the thing that's so frustrating is that we're playing a different game. The Premier League need to copy what happens in Europe. If it hits your hand, it's a penalty. And I blame the Premier League for this because in the Premier League, that's not a penalty because they do this, oh, is it accidental? Is his hand in a natural position? But in Europe, me says it's not a penalty, but in Europe it is. And United fans know this because it happened to us last season with Martinez, where he went to block a shot, blocked it with his knee, it flew off his knee and hit his hand, and they give a penalty. In Europe, if it hits your hand, it's a penalty. And the Premier League need to adopt this because what happens is we see that and we go, that's a bloody joke. But in Europe, they give penalties if it hits your hand, no matter what. And I think we need to start doing this in the Premier League because we see it as an injustice. But in fairness, they do give it all the time. YouTube loves you so much, my phone randomly plays your videos, says Frankie. Was out for my missus's birthday today in a very posh place. Goldbridge came on full blast. There was an old guy on his phone and everyone thought it was him and started moaning at him, says Frankie. Love it. Love it. Love it. I don't know why YouTube's doing that, by the way. I think Newcastle have been really unlucky. Really unlucky. There's nothing Livramento can do about that penalty. You know, there's nothing he can do. There's no deliberate, there's no nothing. It's just, it's such a kick in the nuts for Newcastle. But, and he's blown the whistle there. Or has he blown the whistle? Mbappe, I don't know what's going on here. Bit of pushing and shoving, maybe. Oh, that's a horrible way to end what's been an enjoyable stream. I can't agree with the people saying it's a shocking decision because it's not. It's not. it's not a shocking decision. I'm not shocked. As soon as I saw it hit his hand, I know it's going to get given because I've seen European football for the last few years. I remember Man United against PSG where it hit his hand. They just, if it hits the hand, it's a penalty in Europe. And anybody who's moaning about it is because we're used to the Premier League rules, and this is the problem. We're not used to that rule. So it's always going to get given, but Newcastle don't deserve that. That's really harsh. Really, really harsh. Sheila says it's not a penalty, Mark, but it is. I don't think it. No, I don't think it should be, but I don't make the rules. Like that. If if you want consistency, they are consistent. They always give that in Europe. So I don't think it's a penalty. What's he supposed to do? The ball's flicked off his fucking leg. But they do give them in Europe. And it is a pathetic rule, but they do. In the Premier League, it's not a penalty. Not a penalty. Never going to get given in the Premier League. But in Europe, they give it all the time. My biggest issue is I don't know where he got 8 minutes from, and they got given a penalty with 5 to go. So, but, as much as there's disappointment, Newcastle still have a chance. In relation to the group, Dortmund are through. They've got 10 points. PSG go to Dortmund. They might not win that. They might get beat. Newcastle are home to Milan. If Newcastle beat Milan at St James's Park, which they're capable of doing, they go to 8 points, which means PSG, I think PSG go out unless they beat Dortmund, because I think if PSG draw and Newcastle win, they're both on 8 points. And I think on head-to-head, surely Newcastle would go above. So Newcastle still have a good chance of going through, as long as PSG don't beat Dortmund. I think I'm right with that. I think if they both end up on 8 points, Newcastle have got a better head-to-head with PSG. So Dylan says you're correct. So Newcastle beat Milan, which they can do. Dortmund don't lose to PSG, and Newcastle go through. So they've still got a chance of going through. And Newcastle need to focus on that. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe on your way out. And please do check out the podcast on your way out. Links in the live chat. Goldbridge Saves Football. If you've not given it a listen, please do. I think you'll really enjoy it. I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Man United tomorrow on the United Stand.